In shit test, the insult is usually implied rather than explicit, right? So if someone said, is that your pickup line, right? Is that your pickup line is technically just, like on a literal logical level, it's just a question. She's just inquiring as to whether that's your pickup line, right? Now the reason that shit test is negative or can put you in the low value relative frame, like you said, right, is that in theory, the fact that you would have a pickup line is incongruent or cheesy, right? Or potentially the idea is that your pickup line because it sucks, right? That was a bad pickup line. So if you imply one of those things, you've taken that logical thing and you've taken it in an insulting manner, and now it is a negative in the set, right? But it was not explicitly negative. The negative was implied, right? So that leads us to a very good way to pass shit tests, which is just reverse the implication. If she says, is that your pickup line? Like, wow, you thought it was like smooth enough to be a line? It's funny. It's just, yeah, it just popped into my head. Does that make sense? So instead of being, is that your pickup line because it was lame, you fill in the because it was lame with because it was awesome, right? And you respond as though she had just said that. Make sense? Right? Or is that your pickup line because you seem very smooth and like a kind of guy who does well with women? That's implying it in a positive instead of as a negative. Right? As opposed to, is that your pickup line because you seem like a cheesy guy who would need one, right? So if you take that implied part and imply it as positive instead of negative, and then just respond accordingly, that's usually a very good way to respond to shit tests, handle the frame, and also not escalate that arms race so that you get that clear win, where then she says something positive, you can escalate, etc. Right? So that's how I would kind of recommend. So we'll do 2 rounds. This is the first round's harder for me, but whatever. So the first round, I'm going to go around and I'm going to give each one of you a shit test. This is the hard round for me. So I'll look at you and give you a shit test, and it'll be your job to try and respond to the shit test. Okay, that's round 1. Round 2, you guys will each give me a shit test. So I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like 15, 14, 15 shit tests in a row. Okay? But yeah, the hard one's when I give you a shit test because I have to be more creative for that. It's a lot easier to answer them than to give them. But yeah, we'll just go around and we'll see what you guys have to say. Fair? He's like, what's coming?
Yeah.
Yeah? Have you like been out in the sun once in the last 10 years?
Actually, no. I've been hiding in my basement all this for 10 years. Not coming out.
Okay. So you're trying to agree and exaggerate, right? And I know that you have been out of your basement, but you have to be careful that there's an actual exaggeration, and ideally that the exaggeration is a little bit funny or absurd, right?
Yes, I was trying to make it absurd. I don't know if it came across.
So yes, I have. I've actually been in my basement, but it's cool because I missed, and then maybe some awful trends, right? Right, like if you can think of like, it's cool though because I'm actually lucky. I missed the Kardashians, I missed the whatever, So in a way, I think it's been an enhancement to my life.
There's like a limit to my creativity. This is more creative like this.
Yeah. So the general idea of yes, I have, that's absurd is good, but then you need a specific, right? You need something about that.
Kardashians.
Yeah, or like whatever, right? Or like if the question ask yourself there for agree and exaggerate, if this is true, what else is true? If it's true that I live there, what other absurd thing could be true? Yeah. I've lived in my basement for the last. It was weird though. I was living in Texas during that huge flood. I had to like literally stand there. I was too scared to even walk up the stairs. I just sat there shivering, right? That's like absurd, right? It's maybe not funny, but it's absurd, right? You need to be a clear absurd exaggeration.
Just even like go to the limit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or like I occasionally come out at night to like like bite necks and feed on virgins, but other than that, basement, right? Just make it absurd, make it exaggerated. I'm sorry, man, I just can't get over that shirt. I feel like I'm in outer space and you're spaced out.
I think you should stop paying so much attention and giving me too much, like noticing every single detail about me.
Cool. If I was reading that in a transcript, like if this was a movie script or like a court reporter transcript, your answer was fucking great. However, your delivery, right? Can you say that in a way that it actually seems like you're having fun and that you think it's funny or think it's amusing as opposed to very serious and logical?
Just stop noticing every single detail about me. I think we just met.
It's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like a smile would be good. Like a more of a like, oh my God, can you please stop checking me out and noticing every detail? We've known each other like 5 minutes, okay? Like that might be appropriate in half an hour, but take it slow, girl. Right? You see the difference in like range of vocal tonality, like not like very like stiff and static and focused, right?
Yeah.
So that delivery and vibe. Again, word-wise, fucking perfect. Like amazing. But the delivery, right? Delivery matters as much or more than the words. Okay? Now we get to do the easier part for me and the more fun part for you guys. All right? You guys all want to give me a shit test? Plan your best ones. All right, let's go.
Oh my gosh, you're losing your hair, Todd?
Well, thank you so much for like assessing my physical appearance. But honestly, I'm a human being with feelings. Can we just, can we be real with each other, please?
Did you get that V-neck a baby got?
Well, I'm glad you're checking out my physique and my tight-fitting shirt. I'll tell you what, just so I don't feel so objectified, I'm gonna wear a looser one next time we hang out.
Didn't I just see you outside paying for change?
I don't know what kind of fucking hallucinogens you're on, but they are fucking awesome. You should market that shit.
It's just all me.
Huh?
Said it's just all me.
It's just all you. Awesome, man. Keep doing you, bro.
Do you think that watch is cool?
I don't. I also don't think it's a watch. But thank you for like checking me out and having so many questions.
What?
Yeah.
Aren't you the old hitting on me?
Wow. It's a little ageist, but also let's slow things down. Can we just talk as people first before we have to make it all sexual? Yeah. Cool. But yeah, for your information, just so you know, nothing from here down works. So there'll be no hitting on tonight, especially not you to me, please. Yeah.
I think you're just so annoying.
You think I'm so annoying?
So annoying.
Awesome. I'm glad to stand out. Glad I make an impression. Maybe one day you'll make one too. Okay, good.
Okay, context here. This is the friend that.
Oh shit, we have like a complex shit test. Okay.
Friend just introduced herself to you.
Okay.
I'm the target. Why should I introduce myself to you?
You certainly don't have to. You can continue, never meeting cool people and, being antisocial. It's totally your prerogative. More power to you. Yeah.
Your style's interesting. It reminds me of what was hot in 2010.
Well, thank you for calling me hot. And I guess we've determined your favorite decade, huh? Okay, good to know. I don't know how I feel about you. It's a good place to start. I mean, we've only just met, so let's leave the facts and feelings for later on. Fair?
I see you gained weight.
Have you been stalking me? The fuck? How the hell do you know what I used to look like?
Fuck off, loser.
Wow. Tell me how you really feel, because I need a few more gut punches for my self-esteem.
I'm not really into guys with a bird.
Not really into guys with what?
With a bird.
With a bird?
Yeah.
I don't. I have 2 cats. I don't own a bird. Sorry.
Could be a beard. A beard.
I'm fucking with you. I'll tell you what. If we know each other and we get very close, one day you can ask me to shave it and I'll tell you no.
Smarty Pants right here thinks he is cool.
Who? Where? Oh, you mean me?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad you think I'm cool. What's your name? I haven't met you. Okay. Cool. So a lot of that is, some of it's like clever words and stuff like it, but a lot of it's more the vibe. A lot of it's more me not giving a shit more than anything else. You guys had some creative attempts. Like, let me set up this scenario. What I thought you were going to do, and this is actually a good point, I thought you were going to say a scenario where I had just said something, and then you shit tested me, and I was getting ready to say my answer is I wouldn't have said that thing in the first place. Because it's very true that if you're getting a random shit test when you've been a high value guy, that's usually fairly easy to handle. But if you actually did something lame or like merited the shit test gets way, way, way harder, right? So one of the big things about shit tests is be a cool guy in the first place so you don't get legitimate ones, because illegitimate try-hard shit tests are very easy to pass. Like someone like, you gained weight when the girl's never met you before, right? It makes no fucking sense, right? I didn't merit that, so it's very easy to deal with, right? Whereas if it's something legitimate, you're losing your hair, which, fuck you, for my age, I'm absolutely not losing my hair. But, was that you? Sorry. It was someone over here. Whatever. So this is how little your fucking shit tests mean to me. I didn't even register who gave them to me, right? But yeah, so that's like a legitimate one, right? I earned that one, I guess, by aging, right? So when it's more legitimate, it's harder to pass, whereas when it's less legitimate. So if you actually did something weird or creepy and got shit tested on it, much harder to pass, and then sometimes you just can't because you actually fucked up. Yeah, you had a question or no?
How did you come up with like the thought process with passing these shit tests?
We can go actually. This will be in depth. This will be kind of last thing before I have you guys do exercises, but let's actually do that. So let's go back through these and see if we can remember what shit test you gave and what my answer was, and I'll try and go through them because a lot of it's kind of just in the moment for me. It's like if someone asked you like, how did you know to do like a crossover, or how did you know to go left instead of right during a basketball game, right? You're like, fucking, I don't know. I've been doing it since I was, how long, since you were like 3 years old, you've probably been playing basketball, right? Or some shit, right? So yeah, exactly. So it's like, I just did what I do. But yeah, let's break them down because I can actually break them down if we go. So what was your shit test?
Are you losing your hair? Which is a shit test that I received, by the way, last summer, and it ruined the whole vibe. So that's why I wanted to ask you that one.
Cool. So this one, there's not a lot of positive about it, right? So number one, there's absolutely nothing wrong with losing your hair, right? It's something that naturally happens to people as they get older, and being older, you're a more high value guy. There's good things going on, right? So it's not necessarily, huh?
Nothing wrong at all.
And so there's not anything necessarily wrong with it, but it is, you picked a thing about aging that is specifically a sign of ill health in aging, in theory. It's not really, but like it's perceived as less healthy, right? And so that's the issue is like, are you unhealthy or something like that, right? So because there's not a lot of actual positive to draw from in it, I went with a stock format. And so stock format is anytime someone's mentioning your appearance in any way, the idea that they're checking you out, they care about your appearance, they're assessing you, treating you like a piece of meat, something like that, is a good go-to or fallback, right? So here I neglected the specific, and I went to a general level and went with a stock general level answer. Okay? Yep. What was yours?
Baby gap shirt.
Baby gap shirt? Okay, cool. So you're saying that you have a tight shirt, right? What was the actual phrase that you said, is that shirt? Where'd you get that shirt, baby gap or something like that? Okay, cool, right? So the idea being that it's not stylish or it doesn't fit you or something like that, right? But she's basically saying you're wearing a tight shirt, right? If you thought of a hot girl wearing a tight shirt, would that be a sexy thing?
Yeah.
If a hot guy, if I was like jacked and like had a great body, would wearing a sexy shirt, would a tight shirt be a sexy thing?
It'd be attractive.
So I just thought, like, in what context would this be a positive,
Yeah.
right? If my body's sick, right? You're admiring me in my tight shirt and objectifying me, right? So in what context can this be positive? So that's the thought process there, yeah.
I said, aren't you that guy that was begging for change outside?
Oh yeah, okay. So again, this is one that is like completely like not merited, right? Like your insult is crazy town because I'm clearly not, and like everybody knows I'm not, right? In this conversation, like realistically, you know I'm not. Like hopefully I'm dressed well enough. If I actually was dressed so badly that I merited it, that would be a problem, right? But because your insult's crazy town, I can just treat it like it's crazy town. Be like, fucking whatever drugs you're on, I want some of those. So the answer there is like, yeah. Did I actually merit this? Is this actually a reasonable thing? What you said is unreasonable, so I'll treat it as unreasonable.
So I said, do
you think your watch is cool, right? And so here I took it very literally because this isn't a watch. It's a fitness tracker strap. It has nothing to do with telling time, et cetera, right? So no, which is just agree and exaggerate. No, but I also don't think it's a watch. So so I don't know where you're coming from.
How are you able to do it so fluidly? Like we all like kind of struggle a little bit.
Two things. One, I have this kind of trained response of what is unusual about whatever is being said, right? So what's unusual about your watch? The unusual thing is it's not a watch, right? And so the unusual thing gives me leverage. When he said, actually interesting, that are you losing your hair? My first instinct before doing the pattern one was something about the idea of losing your hair, as in like, no, like for example, like he's this would be really funny because he's like more bald than me. No, actually, I found some of yours, right? Would have been an even better one, right? Because the idea of losing finding whatever it is, and you're in a worse situation than me. So the first thing was the phrase losing your hair, even though it's a common cultural thing, it is a weird way of saying it. It's an unusual saying it. Like, which is technically saying, do you have less hair than you did before? Yeah, so doing reps will help with your speed. Another thing that I did, again, I did this after I learned game, but it actually made my game better even after I was really good, and it would make you guys' game better. I did improvisational comedy. I was living in California at the time. I went to Upright Citizens Brigade in Hollywood, and I did all 4 of their levels, like their 4-level, like whatever class, which is like 4 8-week classes, and levels 2, 3, and 4 I actually did twice. So I did a total of 32 plus 24, was it 56 weeks? Wow. 56 weeks of a 2-hour session once a week. So like, 112 hours of comedy training, right? It's not that much, but like it's some, right? But it helped. I was already good before because I had done game first and learned all that stuff, but doing the improv comedy made me quicker, made me better with it, etc.
That extends to the first unusual thing, like how you find it, like.
Well, again, first unusual thing, literally in improvisational comedy, there's a thing they call the game of the scene. Ironically, it's called game, right? The game of the scene is notice the first unusual thing, justify it, give a label to it, explain it, right? First unusual thing, explain it, and then if this is true, what else is true?
So that's what you did in
That's what I did in improvisational comedy. Yeah, that's how you're finding the funny thing to play within the scene is that process. What's the first unusual thing? Justify it. If this is true, what else is true? You can use that formatted game, and the more times you practice it, the more fluid you'll get with it, right? The other thing that you'll do as you practice, though, is that you'll notice certain formats that are go-tos,
Yes.
right? Anytime you're mentioning my appearance, I can go, you're checking me out. Anytime you mention my clothing, I can say you're checking me out. I can also talk about you wanting me to take my clothing off, for example, or something like that, right? So there's these formats over and over
I have
again.
all the formats like memorized. It's just like it still takes me a long time.
Just reps, yeah, lots of reps. And nowadays you have ChatGPT. Just get reps from ChatGPT, right?
Oh, it's already.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. What was yours? What was your shit test?
You're too old to be hitting on me.
You're too old to be hitting on me. Okay, cool. So a couple of things. Too old, first of all, is a mean thing to say, right? So there's certainly there's a threshold where like it's polite and implied, and then there's a threshold where you're actually an asshole, right? Like there's certain things you don't fucking say, right? You don't like saying someone's too old is technically ageist and wrong, or it can be taken that way as impolite, right? If you say like some kind of ethnic slur to someone, that's fucking you crossed a line. You can be given shit for that, right? So there's certain things that are that's just like you crossed a line, and I'm allowed to give you shit for that. So I'm like, wow, first of all, that's ageist, right? And I can say that as long as I'm not offended by it. If I get like, that's fucking ageist, then it's gonna degenerate. So first of all, that part I can handle by just being like, wow, that was fucking rude, right? But then the other thing about hitting on you is reframing it, right? Like hitting on you is a bad frame. Talking to you being a social person is a good frame. So I just reframe what's a better version of what I'm doing. Like I don't like this label, but I believe in my soul, talking to someone and flirting with someone is completely fine. But hitting on someone is bad. So I'm just like, what's the different version of it? It's like if you called me cocky, I'm like, yes, I'm confident, right? Here's an actual format if you want a format for this. If by X you mean Y. You're very cocky. If by cocky you mean confident this. Are you hitting on me? If by hitting on you mean like being extremely charismatic and fun, then yes, I'm definitely doing that. Right? So that's my thing is if by X you mean Y. So I take the negative label for the thing and make it the more positive label. Okay? What was your shit test?
So annoying.
So annoying?
Yeah.
Cool. So what's good about being so annoying? I stood out in some way, right? That's another kind of life philosophy. I would rather stand out as awful than fit in as nothing, right? I'd rather be like the James Bond villain that like is like the most awful person in the world than the person who's mediocre working a 9-to-5 job doing nothing, right? So it's a frame. But yeah, if I'm so annoying, right? Clearly I'm having an impact on you. Clearly you're reacting to me, right? I'm glad I'm having such an impact on you. One day maybe you'll have an impact on me, right? So that's the frame there, right? So where's the positive? What was yours?
It was, why should I introduce myself to you?
Cool.
Real world example, by the way.
Yeah, right. And so you literally asked a question and you're implying a thing, and I'm just like, I don't care, right? So my answer there is I'm not invested. I don't care.
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
Right. So essentially, you're playing why should I invest? I'm like, you shouldn't, and I don't care. Like you're like I'm not invested in you. I'm like, cool. I'm not invested in you even more. Right. Essentially, right.
That's helpful.
But you have to be careful that not be reactive. Right? So it can't be like, well, fuck you, I like you less. has to be like, yeah, no, you totally don't have to, right? And actually, that's I took that from in a way. I don't know if I actually took it from this, but it's a good example of it. There was a situation where I was running track in high school, and the track star of the team we were running these like horrific interval workouts. It's like, that's just the most painful workout ever. And one of like the little freshman kids, like, do we have to do these? And like the star of the team looked over and like, no, you absolutely don't. Feel free to quit and be mediocre if you want. Yeah, exactly. Dude, why should I? You absolutely don't. You don't have to engage with me at all. Feel free to have a boring, lame life. It's completely your prerogative.
I like that.
Yeah.
At the time, the positioning was I just ignored it. It was not that audible.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, ignoring it might even be better in some cases. If it can be ignored, that kind of thing might be better to ignore. To be fair.
Okay.
What was yours?
Your style is interesting. It reminds me of like a 2010. Like
What was hot in 2010, right? So where's the positive? It's hot, right? So that's what I focus on. I'm glad you're calling me hot. And then I can go one step further, and I guess we know what decade you like, right? But even just I'm glad you're calling me hot would have been enough. What was yours?
I don't know how I feel about you.
Cool. So that's not even negative, right? That's something I say to a girl when I like her. I can't decide how I feel about you, right? The fact that you're questioning your thoughts about me, to me, I'm taking that as you're attracted to me and you're confused by your attraction. So I just respond accordingly, right? To me, that's a compliment. That's not even a shit test. That's a compliment. What was yours?
I see you gained weight.
Yeah. Okay. So again, crazy town, right? You were begging outside in the street. You gained weight when you just met me. That fucking makes no sense. So I'll just give you shit for the fact it makes no sense. Yeah.
I did the tone with fuck off, loser.
A fuck off loser. Okay. So yeah. So that's
Maybe a little mean.
yeah. So first of all, it's not a shit test, right? But I don't remember what I didn't even respond to that. I was like,
You did the whole, if it's too mean, you can kind of turn it back on the other person for being like,
okay,
improperly,
gotcha.
Yeah,
well,
social.
wow. Why aren't you? Well, you're clearly polite anyway. Said or something like that.
Yeah, you said like I took. Well,
Oh yeah. Oh
gut
yeah.
punches, like,
I totally.
bench,
I totally will.
punches,
You want to gut
yeah.
punch me again before I go? You want to kick some dogs while you're at it? Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. So I just exaggerate the meanness of it. Yeah, because you are over you crossed the line. Yeah. What was yours?
Yeah, mine was I'm not into guys with a beard.
Right, and so here I cheated a little bit, but if I could not understand what you said, which I knew what you were saying, but it sounded more like bird than beard. I knew you said beard, but because I could imply that I'd misheard you, I just went with it, and now you're having to explain the thing, and the more times you have to say it, the more lame it seems that you're saying it, et cetera, right? So sometimes confirming and making them go, that's a pretty decent format. Also, a good thing is just mishear, right? You can misinterpret something that was heard, but you can just mishear something else. All right, and then what'd you say?
Said Smarty Pants right here thinks he's cool.
Okay, cool. What did I even say to that? Thanks for noticing or something like that.
Who were you talking
Oh, who? Yeah, because he's smart. Because you weren't necessarily indicating me. Yeah. Who do you think? But something like that. Yeah. So again, I don't have to take it about myself, right? Smarty Pants right here. Who's Smarty Pants right here? Right. So yeah, what's the unusual thing? The unusual thing is you didn't say you think you're cool. You said Smarty Pants right here. That's a weird way of saying it. So then I'm going to take that literally.